Welcome, everybody, to the Filmmakers podcast, which is presented to you by UMBC's Filmmakers Anonymous. I'm Mike Woodard. I'm the president of the best and only film club on the campus. I am joined by Costa, our treasurer.
Thanks for almost forgetting my name.
No, I got confused by mine. Do I normally introduce Costa or Amber first? So I went with you. So you should feel special.
All right, well, hello.
And then Tyler, our secretary.
I don't know, why would you think not to introduce the officers first?
It was enough of a thought that it stopped my talking
Just
momentum.
keep on going.
I am. Thank you.
Getting pedantic,
Thank you,
people.
everybody. I'm joined by Amber, who is our former president.
From like 2 years ago.
Okay, but still, we
Yeah.
can mention it. And the only animator in our group, Brianna.
Hello,
I know you
everyone.
love it when I call you the only animator.
It's the truth. It's good.
It's not offensive.
Animators is part of Filmmakers Anonymous.
Okay, you're not our only animator at this point. I'm sorry.
right.
I forgot about that.
Meanwhile,
He's somewhere around here.
Meanwhile, we are the live studio audience.
You guys should clap so everybody can hear.
Yeah, come on. Where was all the cheers when, we were saying our names,
No, we're the
You
only
can
ones.
add that in
who
there.
praise.
You can add that in there.
Just have like the cheesy laugh.
You should get like the Oscars.
I mean, come on, let's face it. Sander, Ryan, and I are the ones who really are the stars of the podcast and we're sitting out today. So,
So today is the final episode of our Oscars month of podcasts. And it actually has been a full month. We've had 4 podcasts that were all not all of them were Oscars related, but it was all leading up to the Oscars. And next week it's already March. So, but this is our Oscars reaction show. And we'll just hit various topics about what we saw on Sunday. So let's just, your first impressions from all of you. Let's just start off with Costa to my left. Just off the bat, what did you think of the Oscars?
I thought it was pretty good. It was interesting because you could tell that Seth MacFarlane was on a very short and tight leash.
Really, the boob song was.
Well, I think that's how where they drew the line. Like when they were going over the stuff they wanted to do for the show, he had a laundry list of things he wanted, and that was probably the worst thing that they would let him do during the show.
You could tell when he wasn't reading the teleprompter, though. He was just going off on his own jokes. That's when it got good.
Right, he did well in that aspect. The only part of that song I really liked was the last part where he mentioned Kate Winslet and he lists 10 films that she appeared that her boobs were in.
The only thing was, I thought it was kind of a cop out because it was a pre-recorded segment, and I was like, you should have done it with the live and got the reactions of the people in the audience, because they only got 3 taped reactions from them. I was like, half those people are still sitting in the audience, at the Oscars, and you're not, because then I would want to see that, because then it's live.
I feel like that was the only way they could get away with it, though, was if they could show, okay, we got these people's permission, no one was really offended by it. So
And the way that they set it up, I guess they kind of had to, because it's William Shatner, saying, here's a video of what you're about to do that's going to ruin the Oscars.
Well,
I get it from two.
I was kind of just because usually how the Oscars just kind of open up with one of those kind of the host in the movies or whatever, and I was waiting for that, and he didn't.
He did one clip. Didn't he do that one clip with Sally Field?
Yeah, and that was fine, but I was just kind of I would have rather you just done something like that, because I don't know, maybe just, I didn't think he was that great of a host. I was saying I don't think he was the worst host, because that's James Franco. But,
I think that's universally accepted.
Because I just feel bad because he's just high as a kite, and Anne Hathaway's trying not to sink.
so hard to...
Just trying so hard. Giving 200% because the other 100% is completely high.
Well, he didn't even want to do the Oscars either. I think a report came out later.
Yes? Why say yes?
Didn't something happen where didn't his finals coincide with Oscar?
He had left the after party that year.
Back to New York.
Or he didn't go to it so that he could go back to New York.
I would have just been he's not bothered doing it.
Him and his 25 credit course load. It's okay.
Which he sleeps through, supposedly. Anyway, but
Amber, what did you think of the Oscars overall?
Well, I at first was I I decided to watch Walking Dead for a little bit because I heard more about that, but the Walking Dead episode was kind of lame this last week. But
that's what I heard a few people say.
Yeah, so I was getting text messages from my friends saying Seth MacFarlane is so bad, and all this other stuff. So I would
I don't agree at all.
I would tune in and out. The nominees and stuff were kind of predictable, so I'm not like it's pretty much a shoo-in for most of it's not that big of a surprise who wins.
Right.
But I tuned into when the Bond tribute came on and thought that was the lamest thing ever. I thought like it. I don't know, but I think it was horrible advertising because in the press they were saying they were going to celebrate 50 years of Bond, and then Halle Berry comes out and says they're celebrating 50 years of Bond music, and I go, wait.
The name of the show was about music in
but
Hollywood,
they
which is kind
were
of
going
weird
in the press saying they were celebrating 50 years of Bond, and then on the during
it's just the music
and then everybody's going like, wait, and then they're saying how they were going to have this great tribute, and all it was a montage of Bonds. They didn't even have all of the Bond music playing throughout it. It was only like a few. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like every single Bond.
Yeah, and then they had Goldfinger being performed afterwards.
And I was like, well, if you're gonna, there's a lot of like Paul McCartney did a song, one of the Bond songs, Duran Duran, and Adele and all that. So I was thinking that they were gonna kind of like mix it all up at the end, and they just got the one lady who was fine.
Well, she was the original singer.
Yeah,
that's probably why they did it. Probably want to do like the original, the beginning, and then Adele's like the end almost.
But they didn't, and they just brought Adele in later on, and I was like, so
yeah. So here's Adele separate from the 007 tribute to sing a 007 song.
It was just like, if I want to see a montage of a bunch of, I'll just go on YouTube. I was like, it wasn't even anything exciting. Yeah. No Bond showed up, and I was like, everybody was waiting to see, like, I thought that would have been the cool thing to get all the Bonds on, because they're all still alive. None of them are dead. Sean Connery might be dead in the next 10 years, so you should have tried to.
Look, go to Amber for all your morbid twists.
I was like, I agree with this.
It is true.
I was like, at least with the Olympics, when they did the Bond, kind of a little bit of a Bond cameo, I thought that was really cute, and they could have done something like that for the Oscars. They really could have.
I think the producers suck.
Yeah, this year was not. This year was very
horrible and boring. And then they brought Les Mis in, and Russell Crowe came. I was like, oh dear God.
Okay, Russell Crowe coming on wasn't good, but that section I had to give him some credit for, because I like the music of Les Mis. Yeah. So I thought them bringing them on was a good idea, and they sang it pretty well live.
Well, they were celebrating
10 years of like
musicals,
what, 3 musicals that had come out in 10 years.
Maybe
like Hairspray.
Well, Hairspray was already
the remake of Hairspray.
Right? Like that doesn't count.
The remake of Hairspray. That's right.
But I was like, so 3 movies.
Like, I felt like, I agree with you. Like, this year felt kind of like half-assed. They didn't really.
They're like, let's put some themes in a hat, swoosh them all around. And then we'll figure it out. But then somebody told me the producers of this, of the Oscars were producers from Chicago. So then I'm like,
that makes sense.
I know why they want to do music, because they want to celebrate the movies that they made, which is Chicago musical.
The producer Craig Zidane and Neil Moran was the director, I think, or either that or Don Michener. I don't know. I'm just reading.
They should just stick to
here.
making musicals and not producing Oscars, because their shows are boring.
Yeah.
Brianna, what did you think of the Oscars?
That's a good question. I agree with
Where do I start?
Well, I agree
you can't
with
see, but Brianna's pulling out a list.
I agree with you that a lot of it was very boring and underwhelming.
They were trying to pump it up.
They were.
And then it just fell flat.
I agree. And then some parts that I felt like wasn't entirely their fault. In fact, I felt this year wasn't quite as good as it could have been. It wasn't nearly, I feel like as far as movie turnout, that could also be because I haven't seen a lot of the movies. I haven't seen some of the movies that were nominated, but the ones that I did see, I always thought, well, that was good. But I don't think I'm that psyched about it. Like, I wouldn't be too upset when they lost, and when they did lose, I really wasn't that upset.
Well, isn't that always with the Oscars? Is because it's always these hoity-toity movies. I mean, once in a while you'll get like a gem that everybody has seen. But half the time it's just like, I don't give a shit. Because half the time, it's true, you don't remember who wins the year previous.
Right.
Or 2 years previous. Like, I don't know who won 5 years ago. I don't give a shit, because in reality, nobody remembers those movies, it's technically all the movies that don't win awards that you're gonna remember. Like half the movies you think
right,
are,
yeah,
like,
it's
are
the films that get
classics
snubbed. Yeah,
half
it's
the movies that we think are probably classic and whatever
mhm.
Yeah.
never were nominated for an Oscar or never won anything.
Right. Oh yeah,
And
no,
they're the
I
ones that
agree.
remember.
The perfect case like I keep referring to is Inception from 2 years ago, and I know Amber and I
We
have
gotta
had
talk about it.
have had long discussions
Well,
about
I
this,
mean,
but it's
it
like,
was nominated,
yeah.
but yeah, people are gonna remember. that
but
because they like it.
you know, it got snubbed. In my opinion, got snubbed by
Well,
King's Speech.
It was
so.
also a sci-fi picture, and the Academy really, they've had a long bias
It's
against
only
sci-fi.
every once in a while.
But then you also had candidates like Social Network too, though, that also got bumped by King's Speech. And if you watch the King's Speech versus Social Network,
it's a Lifetime movie.
well, right, exactly, and King's Speech doesn't do anything for you. Social Network and Inception, I both walked out thinking I'd watched incredible films, and I walked out, and well, not walked out, but after I watched King's Speech, I was just like, it was good.
Well,
It wasn't great,
that was
but it was
actually
good.
the year where I was like, I know this is gonna I think that was like 2 years ago, Oscars
yeah.
or whatever, and that was the year I stopped watching the Oscars because I knew that it was gonna be bullshit because they actually had movies that people were like, yes. I mean, that was the year that like they had like all 10 categories and like
They had
like,
Toy Story
District
3, I
9
think,
and
didn't
all-
they, in
and,
like the
yeah.
top 10?
They had all these
Yeah.
amazing
In
movies
the top picture
that
nomination?
people liked.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you know, when they lit the King's Speech and stuff, and I'm like, but nobody's gonna remember the King's Speech. People
Nope.
are gonna remember Black Swan. People are gonna remember
Oh, yeah, that's
Social
right,
Network.
Black
People
Swan.
are gonna
I forgot about
remember
that.
Inception.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to give a shit about the King's Speech except for British people because
because it
it's
was
about-
filled with all
it's
British
a-
actors.
Well,
and
it's about British history. We're not British. I
Yeah.
don't understand what this whole like whatever is.
I feel like part of it goes down to not necessarily demographics, but more so the people that make up the Academy.
Mhm.
People have been making the arguments for years that they're not really as tuned into relevancy as
They're all old and need to die off.
pretty much. So I think 2010 you brought up was a good example. 2010 was a year I felt I had a lot of great movies,
And
and
they
that was just
and they
them.
snubbed every single one of them.
I think that was
almost.
just them saying, well, screw the young people. You know, we're just gonna pick what we think is the highest standard, and that's just gonna be because it's different from
Well,
what's
even
popular.
even this year, because you see, with Ben Affleck was not nominated for
For
a
Best Director, which is
Best
odd.
Director, which was odd. Now I'm still on the fence about was his movie good enough to be picture, but I think, and some people are saying they gave it to him because they felt bad that they didn't give him director. But that's the thing too. That should be on them as well. That's like, well, it doesn't make sense that you not give it to him.
Yeah, it's like, why did you not give it to him? to
Why did you
begin
not
with?
give it to him? Because then it's kind of bullshit because, you know, you're giving sympathy votes.
Tyler, what did you think of the Oscars?
Well, real quick, just to go off that, like,
Yeah.
I remember when they first moved up to 10, like, there was like a big prediction that, although they have 10, it's really just gonna be the 5, the same pictures that have the director will also be the actual like 5 nominees for Best Picture. But then of course they've been changed because obviously Argo wasn't in Best Director. But as far as my opinion of the Oscars, pretty much like average compared to like every other Oscars you got each year. Some entertaining bits and whatnot.
And some bits that you just stared at the television and just went, what did I just witness?
Yeah.
Does anybody remember that scene between Paul Rudd and the girl from Mike and
I
Molly?
heard
Melissa McCarthy?
That was
What were they
crazy.
doing?
I didn't
What
see
were
that,
they
but I heard it
doing?
was
Weren't they doing like a loud versus quiet?
Yeah, can anybody
Yeah,
explain
something.
I just was watching, I was looking at the television, I'm just like, what?
I heard somebody
What?
said
When
that
was
it was
this?
like they
It
just
was
went
early.
out, like,
It was, like,
without
almost on
any
the second
rehearsal
one.
We thought they were going to do something funny, and obviously for some reason
That
being
fell on their
comedians
face.
and should have known improv. They fell on their face. I'm like, are you that bad of a comedian that you can't even?
This is
improv?
Paul Rudd.
Like you have to
This
have
is
a
Paul
script.
Rudd. His biggest films have been side roles in films.
Yeah.
You know, his
At
best
least I'd
films are side
expect
roles.
Maybe Melissa
McCarthy.
but
But-
I don't even know if she's kind of like she's funny, but I don't. Maybe she just doesn't have. Maybe she's all scripted. Maybe we'll go off once in a while. I don't know.
I mean, and also it's the Oscars, so it's the biggest stage, and you're being watched by not only your peers in the industry right in front of you, but also millions of people across the country. So it's a little bit more of a pressure situation for for them, I guess.
Just
say the
well,
numbers
right.
and go
Well,
off.
I'm
Like,
saying it's
you
more of
know?
a pressure situation to try to come up with improv that's funny right there.
Well, that's what
right
I'm
then
saying.
and
There
there.
might have been
Scripted,
something
maybe.
like that it wasn't, and thinking they could do that, and knowing that they couldn't. But maybe they're just not.
Yeah.
They're not as strong comedic actors as you think, because usually
I
the
don't-
strong ones are the ones that could probably go off if something like if the teleprompter broke.
Right.
But if you need a teleprompter and you're a comedian, then
My problem is that a lot of times the Oscars feels very forced and artificial to me. Like I feel like they
You
really
think?
do. Well, it's a given, but I feel like in some cases, especially with the presenters, they just pick people who Hollywood's really trying to push them and
their
to
movies
be
as well.
and their movies as well to be like a household name. And I felt like that was them really trying to get people hyped up about Melissa McCarthy and obviously Paul Rudd's been around, but I feel like that was just them pushing it.
I also think they have movies in theaters, or at least movies that are coming out. So like, and here's the
A
stars
few of them, yeah,
blah,
like
blah,
Identity
blah,
Thief.
coming out, blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah, Identity. You're right.
My take on it, I liked Seth MacFarlane, and that's because I love Family Guy. Well, not love, but I do really like Family Guy, and so I find Seth MacFarlane's humor enjoyable.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing I say to people who want to know how Ted, the movie, was. I say to them, did you like Family Guy? Then you'll like Ted. If you don't like Family Guy, don't see Ted, because you won't like it. That's exactly what I say to everybody. And it's the same thing with Seth MacFarlane in the Oscars. If you like Seth MacFarlane's humor, you'll enjoy him presenting the Oscars. And he did a good job with all like the basic stuff. He, just like he carried himself pretty well on the stage. He was always, when he improv'd, he was pretty good.
I like
and I like how he pointed.
Joke,
right.
the one joke about.
Was it the Wilkes Booth joke?
No, I mean I didn't think that was that bad. I
didn't think it was bad at all, but I liked how he reacted to it. That comment made it funny.
The best one that I think was when he pointed out, he's like, I forget what the joke was, but it was something about Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was funny.
People started booing, and he's like, oh, so it's okay now.
So he's like, so you want to protect him.
Yeah, he's like, so you're okay with him now. Like, it was like, why are you booing me? Like, and I was like,
You're making a good point. It's like people are very fickle.
Yeah, and then everybody went, oh, you're right. No, we should clap for that.
He's like, sorry, are you in favor?
Yes, he's like, oh, so it's okay. You're okay with him now.
But see, that's what he did well, is that he reacted pretty well. Like, I mean, there was that one moment where he looked and he was like, I thought we cut this joke.
I did see that.
You remember? Yeah.
And then everybody actually laughed at it. So then I was like, so maybe he's not that funny if he wanted to cut the joke, but then the joke that he wanted previously.
But didn't he but he went with it anyway, right? Wasn't that the whole idea?
Well, he kept on going. People laughed at it, and then I think it was the joke afterwards that I guess was kept in. Nobody laughed at, so he looked like he was kind of confused.
But I mean, he did a good job at doing all the basic stuff, presenting the Oscars and all that. Like, and he had a good voice for it. So, I mean, I really didn't have a problem with him. I honestly didn't. I mean, I didn't say that he blew me away. Some of his jokes were hit or miss. Some of them I laughed at. Others I was just like, okay.
Just like Family Guy.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
The only thing I like Seth MacFarlane's humor, and I really was looking forward to it. The only thing I was concerned about was the fact that a lot of what people consider to be his humor in Family Guy, especially in the mid-season and onwards later episodes, actually were not. He was he's not much that involved with the writing. Like almost all of them were the same group of writers. Like the best touch you could see of Seth MacFarlane is in the earlier seasons of Family Guy, which were almost very different kind of humor than the later ones, and American Dad. And they've done interviews with him where he said, he's really not that into pop culture. He's definitely more so into movies, like in music and show tunes, and all that was just the writing. So I was interested to see him in this role or this performance where he's a host for a show that kind of the theme is about musicals.
Yeah. Right.
And I was just interested to see that because I do know he's supposed to be very different from how people perceive him to be.
Right.
So I just thought it was an interesting choice.
Well, and plus, he did say they asked him. He said he will not host the Oscars ever again. He says if they approach him to ask to do it again, he will say no.
I can't blame him, though. It's a lot of pressure and a lot of just scrutiny you have. People will scrutinize you for any
I mean, the FCC's got you under a microscope when you're doing that. And,
Well, I mean, I guess...
Perfect time to pull out the freaking FCC song, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I guess I would say, like, because, they were talking about the kind of same thing with Ricky Gervais, but for me, I don't think Ricky Gervais is funny. So, like, I would rather see Seth MacFarlane, host than somebody like Ricky Gervais, who's so full of shit, and also who makes fun of Hollywood, but you can tell that he has surrounded himself with a Hollywood ego that I was like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. It is funny because people brought up the fact that Seth MacFarlane, he's photogenic and he has a great voice, and people brought up the fact that he should have been one of them in the crowds, but he's not.
Yeah.
Because he was so much more into animation. He's an animator from the beginning. He does not like being in the forefront. He really doesn't like being out in public that much or doing all those public things. So it's very interesting.
Okay, well that helps explain why he won't do it again.
Yeah, he hates that stuff.
So. All right, so that's like a basic overview of what we thought. Now, how about like just some of the nominees or the winners? I mean, were there anything that really surprised you guys?
Here was a big surprise to me: the foreign picture category. Who would have thought Amor would have won that?
Well, that's one of the bullshit things of the Oscars was like, but you put in Best Picture, and it's foreign. And I'm like, so we all know what's gonna win,
right?
Like.
Right. Well, I mean, couldn't you make the same excuse for, like when they
it
had?
Should have won though. Amor was an amazing film. Just saying.
But it did win.
I know.
Well, got best foreign
but couldn't you
film.
say the same thing like when they had Toy Story 3 as both nominated for Best Animated Film and for Best Picture, or
But that's why they made the animation.
We would not think that
category.
because the Academy does not like animation. They're very biased towards animation winning Best Picture, just the same as they're biased towards sci-fi winning Best Picture or anything like that. So that would be the exception where I would not think that. It's like if it weren't animated, I would assume, they just put it in there.
Well, they're hypocritical because it's like, so you made the animation category, but you put it in Best Picture, but you had the animation category because you didn't want this.
Yeah, it's because specifically when they do that, it's not going to win Best Picture. It's like
it's
obvious.
Yeah, but it's like, then why don't you follow
sense.
your own rules? Same with like foreign film, like if it's in the foreign film category, best foreign film, but you put it in Best Picture, that means we know it's going to win Best Foreign Film. Same with the animation. So I'm like, why don't you just leave it there and open that? You have all these slots for best film. Put something. I don't even give a shit. Put the Avengers. We know it's not going to win, but the fanboys will have a field day.
Because the Oscars are above that.
They're above. That's the problem.
Put freaking Skyfall in.
No, not a spy film with technological elements.
Even though we're giving a
especially
a
when there's
to it.
especially when there's 10. Like Tyler kept saying, when there were 10 slots for Best Picture and they only used 9.
That's bullshit.
that is
10 was supposed to be.
Looking at the list of winners, like the one thing I did notice throughout is that there were no real true runaways this year. Like, I mean, Life of Pi got quite a few, but not
because they got the director
and it got the editing. But like, well, I think the visual effects,
cinematography too, which people are going, well, it's all visual effects. So how much of cinematography can you really?
Right, but other than that, really, I mean, it was really diverse for a lot of it. Argo won about, I think, only really 2 awards.
Well, it took home Best Picture.
It took home the best one, obviously, but also
Argo won a few awards. Lincoln only brought home 1.
Yeah, that's surprising.
I was happy to see Christopher Waltz win Best Supporting Actor.
I was really surprised that he won.
I know, but that's
He deserved it, but at the same time, I was surprised.
Yeah, I was.
Tommy Lee Jones was.
Oh, we all thought that at the show when we did our podcast.
I thought Tommy Lee Jones had it, and then I was actually also surprised. I was surprisingly surprised at myself that Jennifer Lawrence won Best Actress. I was certain that they were going to give it to Jessica Chastain because I figured that they...
She was in everything.
Yeah, I mean, I just was like, that they would go with somebody in a more mature role, I guess. I don't know, I just think that she was so young. But I do think she's the best person to ever win an Academy Award, ever, because she fell going off the stage. And then her press conference afterwards was hilarious because she admitted she had done a shot. And then she was making fun of like some of the
she was
questions. The questions they were asking
were like,
her.
"Do you think you're gonna burn out now that you've won?"
And she literally was like, "I hope not."
She's like, "Really?"
She was caught flipping off a photographer,
she
like in a
flipped off
picture.
His photographer afterwards.
I mean, and people have said, looking at the photo, that it looks like it was in good spirits. But
I think the whole thing was in good spirits. I was like,
she deserves that Oscar for just doing that.
After that, I was like, you know what? She deserves it because she's really having a good time. She flirted with Jack Nicholson in
She's
an
not taking
interview.
it too
Which is great.
seriously,
Yeah,
so-
I don't think she really gives a shit. She's just really happy.
Tyler, what were you gonna say?
So I just want to get your reaction on this. So a few days ago, I'm sitting in the comments, and I overheard these two girls talking about the Oscars, and they said Jennifer Lawrence run for the Hunger Games.
That's stupid.
What? Wait, what?
Probably the same girls that
What did
probably think that like Kristen Stewart is the greatest actress ever from Twilight.
Oh, jeez.
Wait, what did they say? They said she
They-
runs for the Hunger.
That she won for
For the Hunger Games.
For the-
You should be like, yes, she did.
You are so
Yes,
right.
she
Speaking
did.
of Kristen Stewart, did you see her
She,
like
looked,
when
she always looked drugged.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
she was totally high.
She always looked
I know.
drugged.
She was totally high.
Thank you.
but yeah,
She always looks
she
high.
definitely was. She was like taking these long pauses
Well, she
before
was-
responding,
she
and
She was
on
baked
crutches.
like a cake. It's like,
Well,
you're right. She actually did hurt herself recently. So
Yeah,
people
I
think
was
it may
like-
have been painful.
She's all, probably all doped up in OxyContin.
But I was
Yeah.
just like, if you hurt your leg and you're waddling around, I'd be like, you don't have to show up. Just have Harry
Right.
Potter present the one
He
by himself.
doesn't need. He doesn't need like a handler to
And
help
then
him.
she wasn't even like, he had his arm out to like, you know what I mean? We'll go. And she just went out and I was just like, dude, just take Harry Potter's arm. Combine your two little teen fantasy genres together.
it was interesting to see Daniel Radcliffe like walk up and sing, especially since I haven't seen him in anything besides Harry Potter.
Well,
So
he
it's
did.
like
He did that
Yeah.
Broadway play.
I know that he did Broadway, but I haven't seen it. So that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it
It's
was-
like
He's a dance.
when you
no,
think
he's
of-
done a Broadway.
when you think of Harry Potter and then
Oh,
you see him singing
yeah.
on the stage, it's like
How to be
okay.
successful.
and so I mean, Argo. We sort of said last week that Argo was probably going to
Was it either
win
that
the
or
Best
Lincoln?
Picture.
Yeah.
Lincoln did sort of feel kind of snubbed in most areas. I guess Skyfall got Best Original Song, which
Makes
I think
sense.
we all
if it
predicted.
didn't win, I'd be like, that's
We would-
I would be like, I am never even gonna even pay attention to the Oscars again. It's like, that's
It
bullshit.
would be proof of
They also had a
because
tie,
no one else
though.
can compete.
They
Yes,
did have a
did.
tie.
And fucking
It was only
best
the third-
documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
No,
was
no,
only
no,
the
No,
no,
it was
third
just
tie.
was it best sound editing?
What was
I
the
think
best?
It was sound
Yeah,
editing.
it
It
was.
was
It was
like
the best sound
Skyfall.
editing.
Skyfall and Zero Dark 30, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Mhm.
when was the last time
Has
there's
there
ever been
ever
a
been
tie?
one?
Yeah,
No,
that's
this
ever
was
been a
their
tie.
third tie in the history of the Oscars.
Wow, I didn't even know you could get ties in the Oscars.
I don't understand.
I didn't
why
think
What do you
so
do with the
either.
trophy?
Tie
Who
with
gets
so
the
many
Well,
Well, they
so
both
it's
get
probably
one.
make
Yeah.
copies too,
They,
yeah.
they just both
Six.
get
It's like
They
the
both
way.
got it.
What?
Apparently, there's been 6 ties.
Oh, really?
I read that there was 2 before tonight, or that night. But yeah, I was like, the way you apparently get ties is if the runner-up is only 3 or so votes behind the
Well,
winner.
Wait a second.
But
What?
How does that
If
make
you
the
get
whole
more
purpose.
votes, you win.
Yeah.
No. They literally got the exact same amount. Because if you get one more vote than anybody else, you automatically win.
Well, that's how it should be.
Yeah, it's all about, no, like the first time the Oscars tied was in 1931 with
Really?
the Best Actor award.
That's awkward right there. I mean,
That was fun. Like Mark Wahlberg wasn't he the one announcing? He's like, "Wow, this is not a joke. This is a tie."
That was fun. That was funny. No kidding.
Tyler. All right. The way that it, originally, because when the first time it happened, the vote count wasn't an actual tie. One of them received one more vote than the other, but the rules at the time stated 2 winners would be honored if the count was within 3 votes. But that's changed since then.
Okay.
Well,
it should be.
she's
You're
even
right.
back. That is
That's
just
that is
incredibly flawed logic.
How many people vote in the?
I think
how
back
many
in the
voted
day,
in
though,
the
they
other
didn't
5
take it
times.
serious.
Well, only
Because
actors vote in the actor category.
Oh.
Like, the only category that everyone votes for is Best Picture.
Well, I mean,
the
how
directors
many?
vote for the directors. The sound editors vote for the sound editors.
I
and
mean, I think
whatnot.
the numbers of people voting probably would affect it too.
Yeah.
But
Some
it's
sort of
changed
electoral
now because
college.
everybody in the Academy votes for every single award, right?
No,
Isn't it
no,
only
not-
the nominations? It's only who gets nominated that it's the individual.
Yeah, when you get nominated, it's only people in your field, and then
that
everyone votes
and then
on the
everybody
nominees.
votes for you. Yeah.
Beforehand, it originally was like you can only vote in your category all the way through. So
So that was a very interesting happening. Quentin Tarantino got
Oh,
the
God.
one award, which
of
was
course he should.
which was good. That was good of the Academy to give him that
If
because
Yeah,
they
so
did-
so
if they
technically,
his
so
first win
they-
since Pulp Fiction.
Django got won more awards than Lincoln did.
Wow.
yeah, it did. It won too,
Two,
didn't it?
yeah.
hmm
Interesting.
Yeah.
I Still have to
And
see it.
Which is interesting because the screenplays with Lincoln and Django are two, I think, of like the best scripts that I've read this year, and
They should be a double feature.
exactly. They both deal with the same topic, just in different ways.
Emancipation Marathon.
I'm reading our
Real history or
Oscars
revisionist
winners
history?
list off of ABC Family, and they have it written down as Quentin Tarantino.
Obviously, it's not. He's not very a family friendly.
Actually,
you know,
no, that's more of
director.
like
right?
They've
They've
I
got
want
the
to
other,
see, I want to see Quentin
Tarantino.
Tarantino make
No,
a kids film like
Tarantino.
Scorsese.
Well, but you
my-
wouldn't say it in
I
that
think that would be
way
an
for that
interesting
reason.
exercise.
Shin
I
doesn't
would
always
see that.
apply. Sometimes it can be Tino. Anyway, we're getting off topic there. But
Isn't he friends
Oh,
with Robert
jeez.
Rodriguez?
Oh yeah,
They could do
I
it.
thought that was turned
They've
over.
been
Yeah, but
friends
it'd
since
probably be
the
something
early
lame
90s.
like
It'd be like
Shark Boy and.
Yeah, the
So
problem
again,
is
I
Robert
mean,
Rodriguez
yourself.
isn't good at making kids films.
His kids'
But,
films are horrible.
He's
Even
got
the
his Spy
first Spy
Kids
Kids.
1.
The first Spy Kids I thought was a good kid.
I was too old.
Are we talking
for
about
Spy
Robert
Kids.
Rodriguez?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah, his
I
kids
liked
don't
Spy
suck.
Kids too.
I liked the first.
I liked
the second
Spy
one okay.
Kids too.
I thought the first.
The
one was
Spy
the
Kids
best.
3 was terrible.
That was awful.
I haven't seen any of them because they just look.
He only does it for his kids.
Well, his
But
kids
then
don't
after-
have any taste.
But then it's like
after
after a
his
while.
kids have got to have grown
Okay.
up by now. So.
Okay, we're getting off track here, guys. Okay, so, well, my computer is dying on me again. But
Charger.
so best animated short film, Paperman won, which was what they played before Wreck-It Ralph.
Which my script teacher hated.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit overrated. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was cute, but I thought some things about it. I was like, this is typical Disney to the max. It's like just.
I mean, the fact is, it's still a cute story,
It was cute.
and I think that's a lot of what it won on.
I think your computer's dying.
I've never heard.
It's telling
What
you he's
the
I've
dying.
never heard that.
It's
It's
flatlining.
sad.
You should
I'm,
hook
He's
it
saying
I'm
up.
goodbye
trying
to
to
you.
shut it off. There it is. Okay. Technical difficulties here on our podcast show. The only,
He doesn't want to leave you.
I swear it turned off.
Death rattle.
You try plugging it in, or what is? I've never heard.
Okay,
I've
and-
never heard a Mac make that sound.
Anyway, so now I do think that I do think that Costa, you were right. You proved me wrong. The Academy really is stuck up Pixar's butt. As far as I
Yeah.
thought it, I didn't,
Of
I
course.
wasn't willing to think it was, and they gave Brave the winner over Wreck-It Ralph. And that
video games.
that really disappointed me because
He disappointed everybody.
well, right,
Except for the
because
people that won
like I said
Brave.
last week, I thought that the Academy could at least recognize when Pixar gets beat because sometimes they have gotten really beat
Yeah.
by other
Like
you know.
DreamWorks, it's happening.
Well, DreamWorks is normally their front competitor, and the fact that this is Disney's animation studio too, you know, like this was this animation studio that was going to supplant Pixar because they had like falling apart a few years ago,
Right.
and so now now Walt Disney's competing against its own company.
Yeah,
It was just
Disney
kind of
won the
it's kind of
category.
bullshit because at the end of the day, Disney still won. It's like it's
Yeah,
Well,
like
right.
Disney had 3 out of 5 chances with Wreck-It
Frank and
Ralph,
Weenie, Wreck-It Ralph, and
Brave.
oh god, yeah, Brave. How can I forget?
Right, but so that was the one, like, I guess it was a surprise for me because I thought that the Academy could at least recognize when Pixar got beat.
Well, no, yeah, we know how it goes. I
They're
mean,
so old they don't understand what video games are.
They're watching Wreck-It Ralph. I can see them like, I don't get these references. It's like a terrible movie.
well, it's not just that, but I think they're just like we've said, they're just too set in their ways. You know, hopefully, whenever these guys at the Academy just end up die, when I was gonna say when they're 6 feet under, then hopefully the next set of people that make up the Academy will be a little more open-minded.
I mean, they
Yeah.
probably have, like... 'cause
They have a
like,
guideline probably at this point of
Well,
how
I've
they
got
do
a
it
question.
anyway.
I
Matt
thought
brought-
it was just whoever gets...
And whoever comes in, whoever comes in is going to be, trained or, at least given advice by the
They're mentored by
previous.
them,
Yeah, they're
Right,
going to
well,
be mentored by the ones who are in now.
Well, Matt was talking about based on certain categories, you're nominated by your peers, but is Best Picture the only category where it's just the Academy that makes the nominations, or...
I don't know, because I know,
You can,
like...
yeah, only the members of the Academy can make the nominations.
Is that also for, like, Best Actor and Best Actress also? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean...
they send you a form. Like the thing is, when it comes down to the Academy, you have to be invited to be in the Academy.
Well, isn't it if you're nominated, isn't it like if you're ever nominated, like newly nominated, you automatically go to the
if you're
Academy?
newly nominated, you're automatically put into the Academy.
Yes.
And whatnot. So, like, you know, the little girl from Beast of Southern Wild, she now is in the
Like
Academy.
she doesn't have to even do another movie for the rest of her life.
she's
and
already
always in the Academy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now
but you
she's
can't
our
get
hope.
kicked out.
You're like the third,
Yeah.
which is like 20 years old.
You have
Like,
to
what?
say,
That little girl's
You have
banking
to
off
find
of
a
her
way to
success
break
now
the
because now
Academy
she's the
rules.
lead role in another version of Annie coming
but
up.
who
Now
wants
she's
to
in
see
another.
that version of Annie?
Now I'll agree with that sentiment, Amber. Except
used
I
to
like
love
the
Annie.
casting of Jane Lynch as Mrs. Hannigan.
Oh, really?
That's a perfect role for Jane Lynch.
I could see that.
I mean, I don't watch Glee very often, but for the type of role she plays on Glee, like she would make the perfect Mrs.
Is
Hannigan.
Jay-Z playing Daddy Warbucks?
I thought he was just.
I have no idea.
I would think that's funny. As a Bruce
Either
fan, I
way.
find that hilarious.
Or Will Smith.
Or Will.
Or Will
Well,
Smith.
No, because his daughter doesn't want to do it anymore.
Oh.
So anything that's not involved.
And
with
hence
this
why
is-
the girl who was nominated, Wallace,
Even
that's why
Johnny-
she is
even
the
Johnny
lead
Wallace.
actor now.
Yeah.
Or actress, I should say.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
what-
Cuban Jenny Wallace is also going to be in another movie that's coming out soon that people are anticipating.
mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be good, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln
No one
actually
knows
won
her
two.
name. That poor girl.
I just call her
Okay.
Kwazan?
I looked it up and its pronunciation
I just
key.
call her Q.
Cute.
Cute, like in James Bond.
Yeah.
Cute.
What do you guys think of the Avengers skit, the little bit
I-
presentation? I mean, did anybody else think that
Know
came
what the
off
hell
kind
they
of
were
flat?
doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just didn't really roll off as how they were hoping that it would.
I think everyone's like, yeah, we're funny and cool, and we're like, you guys have no fucking idea. Like, you just like came together at the last minute, and were like, hey, this is what we're gonna do, and then they didn't even know what the hell they were doing.
They should have at least given the point in that, like, to Robert Downey Jr. because he can probably hold up, but like they were giving it to Jeremy Renner, you know, and he's a good actor probably, but like
Again,
I don't think he's not
He's
a comedian.
Comedic actors, maybe
Robert Downey Jr. That's why I'm saying he could pull it
He
off.
could probably pull it off, but
Because all he would have to do is be his narcissistic self.
I would have even given off to Chris Evans before I would have given it to Jeremy Renner. I mean,
Yeah.
and is he really part of the event?
Is he really? But yeah, so that was kind of awkward. I fell asleep before the Jennifer Lawrence and the Michelle Obama. I didn't get to
Michelle
see the
Obama,
presentation.
I'm sorry,
That was
but I don't.
weird.
Everybody was going after the day after was like going crazy, like, oh my god, Michelle Obama gave it. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I was like, I'd rather have seen Jack Nicholson. Who cares? I was like, he just gave it to her, and then I was laughing because I'm like, all these awkward people were standing in the background, like staring at each other, and then she's coming up, and they're like, I was like, this is horrible. Just give it to Jack Nicholson. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, but
It was very strange Oscars. I
I
feel like
think
this year was
yeah.
really
The
It
weird.
was
producers
still
are,
better
like,
than the
rich.
last year.
It was better than the last, but I agree with you. It was
I
better.
think they
but
had a
it was
better
still weird.
director for this Oscars because the presentation was a lot better than
the
last few
presentation
years.
was done really well. Like I said during
Remember
the whole.
that one year though that like they all like everything was on those little itty bitty screens and the cameras themselves would be panning into the screens looking at the clips from the movies.
I think I
And
kind of
when I'm
remember.
like, I hated that. I got so
Just
pissed off with it. Like, just show me
cut
the
to-
clips.
Yeah.
Right, just
You
cut
don't
to
have to
the
be fancy in
footage.
this regard. This is just making me
Yeah,
angry.
just cut to the footage.
Well, honestly, you know what? I think, I mean, because it seemed kind of weird, I think this might have been like a transition period for the Oscars. Obviously, I think they were experimenting a little bit, obviously, by having Seth MacFarlane, host. I don't know. I mean, hopefully this means that they kind of learn something from this, but I have my doubts.
I think
And
each
because,
year
like-
they learn because they want to
Yeah.
get the younger audience. But the younger audience is like, well, when you start like nominating movies that we like have seen, then maybe we'll start tuning in.
Yeah, because then like last year was obvious they were trying with Franco and
No, last
Hathaway.
year was Billy Crystal.
Or the year before.
Which
Yeah.
Right, Billy
See,
Crystal they
which
brought
was-
in because
Eddie
Because the
Murphy got
76
split.
Oscars, the one with the Lord of the Rings Return of the King had like the highest view count period, and Billy Crystal hosted that Oscars.
Mhm.
It was extremely well written. I think it's like the best Oscar telecast I've ever seen. I even have it on VHS. I take the fucker. But The thing is, though, when they brought back Billy Crystal, they were trying to get the same hype up, but it was done by different writers. It was done by a different director. So
and plus, I think at this point, Billy Crystal is kind of like their fallback host. It's like, hey, we couldn't get, Eddie Murphy drops out. Hey, Billy, what you doing? You're not doing anything, right?
Billy Crystal has hosted the Oscars 9 times now, I think.
Oh my god!
Like he's hosted a handful of times.
And like Whoopi Goldberg or whoever, but I think he's like the most next to like probably I think Bob Hope used to.
Bob Hope did it so
like
many
so
times.
Many years,
he's done it like 15 times.
Yeah, but I think the thing is they're trying to get, like they always say every year, they're trying to get a younger audience, so they try and get they got the James Franco and Anne Hathaway, and then they get and Seth MacFarlane is kind of it's
a younger
audience.
Very
clear choice that they try to get him. They're trying to get.
Let's hope they go in the right direction instead of reverse. Because they could do far worse. I mean, I just had a really bad image of them getting like Robert Pattinson. Like they're really shooting.
They're not.
I know they wouldn't.
I know. They're not
I know that's a rather extreme and like not going to happen. Like what if they did? Like if they're really trying to reach a younger
They're
audience.
especially not going to do that now that Twilight is over.
Right. Exactly.
Especially that the series has ended. They're definitely not going to do that now. That would have been an idea 2 years ago.
I really think they should get Jimmy Kimmel. For
Didn't
some
he
reason,
do it before?
Maybe.
Jimmy Kimmel always has a show because he's right across from the Kodak Theater. His studio or whatever is right there, and he always does gets people on and makes all like the shorts and stuff like that. And
Jimmy Kimmel probably would be a well-received
host. I don't
host
understand because like they all go to him. They all like show up on his show. So I was just like, why don't they just go after Jimmy Kimmel?
I mean, honestly, I would any of the late night hosts. I mean, even someone like Jimmy Fallon might be a decent choice.
I would always think like Jimmy.
Stephen Colbert.
They tried it with Jon Stewart.
Yeah, they got Jon Stewart.
But the thing is, though, they put him on too close of a leash. He wasn't able to make his normal humor, which is political.
I would go for even like Conan O'Brien.
Conan O'Brien.
I would go for.
I wouldn't be as big a fan as Conan.
I would actually go for Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Kimmel would be good.
Just because their late night shows are actually entertaining, and if they just got the same kind of staff and put all the effort into when they do like the skits there.
It helps when they have the same name too.
Or the dark horse, Craig Ferguson. Have him host the Oscars.
He wouldn't even have an opening. He would just go out on stage because that's what he does.
Just go out on stage. Have him up there with his robot Jeff. Just do that.
You know who I want to really see host the Oscars with no restrictions, so the FCC would literally have to turn a blind eye to the Oscars that year, would be Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Oh, they came to the Oscars rolling on acid.
During the time where the South Park movie was nominated for Oscar, they came to the Oscars tripping on acid, and I'm
they
like,
would never invite them back.
I would totally do that with them. Yes. Trey Parker and Matt Stone just seem like a whole lot of fun to be around.
I feel like 5 minutes into the opening, it would just cut off because they'd be like, we can't show this. We can't show this.
And the rest is on pay-per-view.
What if they directed or produced it? That'd be interesting.
So this is the first year that the Oscars are hosted by HBO. Because it can't be put anywhere else.
Anybody else, kind of find it enjoyable when Quentin Tarantino was accepting his award? He made a speech and then started walking off, and then I think they even started playing the music. Then he stopped and he was like, "No, wait, I got more."
And the funny thing is, they stopped and waited for him to finish.
They actually did stop, which was
Quentin
surprising.
Tarantino, man. He I have literally read the last few weeks. I have read probably about 6 or 7 articles from different places all over the world saying how Quentin Tarantino is debatably one of the most influential filmmakers alive today. Yeah. Basically influencing the entirety of the film scene when it comes down to new releases. So I'm like, you're not doing anything to help this guy's ego.
And I don't know if I'd quite agree on that, but
I mean, I love Tarantino to death. There's not a single film of his that I don't like.
But I don't know if he's that influential because he has a very certain style.
It's dialogue. I mean, his style is dialogue and referencing pop culture.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, so many people try to imitate his artwork, his style because it's so marketable. Troy Duffy did that with the Boondock Saints. I like the first Boondock Saints, but then the second Boondock Saints is just Troy Duffy jacking off on the audience.
Okay, so
watch my movie.
So we're about to actually wrap this up in a moment, but real quickly, based off the knowledge of movies that you know are coming out this year, any early Oscar favorites you can think of?
Well, I read an article that they started doing some early screenings for Man of Steel.
I've read that too.
And they are saying that it is potentially the best movie you'll see this year.
Is it?
my
Wow.
gosh.
I just read an article that they say that for comparing it between Man of Steel and The Dark Knight, they're actually
I
saying
knew
Man
it.
of Steel is
Wow.
actually better.
They're
Interesting.
saying
I've
it
never
is
liked
like
a Superman movie before.
I never
I've
liked
never cared for
Superman.
Superman.
I've never
Yeah.
liked the Superman.
They
animated
said-
Superman
Now
movie.
there's hype.
they were
Superman is one
saying
of the DC characters that I don't care about.
Yeah.
they're saying think of a movie with a Christopher Nolan story, but with the same amount of action you would get in a Zack Snyder film.
Huh.
Best of both worlds.
Best of both worlds.
Hmm.
I mean, they're saying basically what you see in the trailers, like they
Nothing.
leave out like 80% of the action in the trailers.
Wow.
Like you don't see really hardly any of the action. So and it's also not as dark as they're making it seem. Like it's still a fairly somewhat mature film, but it's also got its lighter moments and everything. They said it'll probably take a lot of people by surprise.
Then how about this? Would the Academy face any flack if Man of Steel is put up for Best Picture when Dark Knight wasn't?
It's kind of still early because.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying. Let's just propose that scenario
It's
for
the
one
bias
thing.
towards superhero films.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right,
It
well,
probably-
right. That's what I'm saying.
I'll
That's
tell
what
you
I'm
right
saying,
now,
though.
most likely it'll probably get a whole bunch of special effects awards.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Maybe sound.
It might
Maybe
even
even
get as
script
far as
writing.
best
Maybe even script.
screenplay, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
But
but
that's
I-
probably
I-
as far as they'll go.
Okay.
I mean, it's a summer movie, and so
Right.
if it was released closer toward like say if it was released toward Christmas, probably might have a better chance. But
Probably.
we don't. But
That's what they
again,
did
we
with
don't know
Titanic.
what else is. I mean, I don't know if they. I mean, what's
I really think the only other
Awesome.
film that I know
Yeah.
that might have a chance and maybe a redeeming factor would be the sequel to The Hobbit. Maybe
Even then they're going to just
It's
wait till the
not being
third
done
one.
the same way as the first one, so they might
Like,
change
if
all
they-
the flaws.
If they did anything, they're going to wait till the third one.
Well,
to,
I think, but there is a chance though the second one could be. I mean, because obviously all the Lord of the Rings movies have been major players at the Oscars, and obviously The Hobbit didn't really make the cut this time
you
around.
got 3.
But like I said, yeah. So it's got 2 more shots, and it's another one as far as all the films I know that are coming out later this year that have the potential to.
At best, at Best Picture, that's a stretch though.
Yeah, I mean, you never know.
Especially since The Hobbit wasn't even as strong of a offering as even Fellowship of the Ring was.
Well, right. Well, I'm just saying that as
You
a
know.
possibility since obviously no one's seen the film yet. So
You don't know what to expect.
well, right. No, I understand that, but we're
That's
still allowed to
Is that
give
coming
our
out
best
this summer,
predictions.
Or did they push
yeah,
it?
Great Gatsby is also coming
I
out
would
later
say
this
Oh
year.
yeah, I
maybe
thought
Great
that was going to be
Gatsby,
released last
but,
year.
Yeah, but they pushed it back for a 3D conversion, and also
Fuck.
isn't
What?
Jay-Z doing the music for it? So
Probably. It's like, why would you do 3D conversion for a movie about the Great Gatsby?
I don't know.
There's
because
no
people are
visuals.
sick.
Boringness in 3D.
It's like I've read the book. There's
That-
nothing to
I
the
mean,
imagination.
that could just be, but who knows? And then
Right.
it's got DiCaprio
It's
in
not.
it,
It's
so.
not gonna have a jazz.
And
sound.
Tobey Maguire.
They're doing.
Well, not really.
Another
Not that
modern
matters,
day
but-
sound.
Yeah, I bet people more care about
I
Leonardo.
don't know.
Yeah.
Things keep changing.
I mean, I'm sure-
Music for fuck's
Go ahead,
sake.
Tyler.
I'm sure, like any movie that's going to be in like the actual Best Picture contenders next year, we won't hear about until like November or whatnot.
And I'm kind of tending to agree with that right now because if you do look at the list, a lot of the bigger films that are coming out this year are all either fantasy or superhero based or there's Kick-Ass 2 coming out, which probably won't win any
Well-
awards, even though it'll be a good movie, probably, hopefully. And then there's X-Men. I think is coming.
X-Men's
That's next year,
They
isn't it?
haven't. They
Okay.
have to film it this
That's
summer, I
right.
think.
But anyway, Man of Steel, and then we have the Amazing Spider-Man 2, which shouldn't
Hunger
be
Games.
nominated for anything. We'll
No,
have,
Hunger
it,
Games.
we'll,
We
we'll
don't
have
know.
the sequel to Hunger
We
Games.
don't know.
No,
Well,
no.
sequel to Hunger Games, I think, is coming out later than usual, so that's
In
coming out.
November, I heard.
And that's around. Well, but I don't see it nominated for Oscar.
Oh yeah,
If it's
no,
still
I don't
directed
think
for-
so.
If it's still directed by Alfonso Cuarón, as it says,
I give it more of a
Maybe,
chance than the
maybe
first
Jennifer
Hunger
Lawrence
Games.
will win an Oscar for Hunger Games.
I am honestly, until I found out that
Ooh.
Quran was in on the second Hunger Games, that immediately spiked my interest a little bit more because I'm like, maybe he has a chance to make the sequel really good.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
What about the Steve Jobs biopic? What about that? Jobs.
Wait, which
Jobs.
one?
With Ashton Kutcher.
I don't know. There's supposedly two. There's the one with Ashton Kutcher, and then there's the one that what's his face is writing. The guy that wrote Social Network.
I thought
Sorkin's writing one about Steve Jobs.
Yeah, there's one with Ashton Kutcher.
I thought he was doing. I thought he was actually the one with Ashton Kutcher.
The one with Ashton Kutcher's already done, and but that's by somebody else. And supposedly Wozniak or whatever, who was his partner, said it's not that great of a biopic because there's a lot of inaccurate stuff going on. But then the other one is supposedly coming out, and that one supposedly.
Yeah, in May 2012, it was announced Sorkin would be writing an upcoming movie based on the life of Steve Jobs.
Different because he's writing it as if it's like one of his presentations.
Probably
not.
When
he presents like all the Apple products. Supposedly, I got it that he's kind of writing it. The way the movie's gonna go is different because it's almost like a presentation.
Okay.
I'm not. That's how it was coming out when I was reading it. So there's two. I would say the Aaron Sorkin one will probably whenever. Yeah, I don't know when that one's coming out, but I figured that one would probably get more.
Probably.
One movie that might be up for Oscars this year is a movie that we haven't seen anything about is Scorsese's new film, The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of buzz about that one, so that one's probably
Leo
gonna be
will
up for
finally win his Oscar.
Maybe.
Somebody needs to
We're
give
pulling
him
for
that
you,
poor
Leo.
guy an Oscar because he really tries. Like every movie he comes out with, he really, really tries. And they just Leonardo DiCaprio. I just think they don't like him because
they might not at this point, and plus they don't want to be seen as inconsistent, or they're trying not to. So it's like the same artists are gonna win like the same types of awards a lot of times. If Leo keeps getting snubbed, the most likely course is that he'll keep getting snubbed.
And then they'll give him
following
like
status quo.
5 years before he dies.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. Because they're afraid you're gonna die.
And just to real quickly on moving back to the Steve Jobs biopic, the only problem I have with it, and I haven't seen the movie, I saw a clip from it.
Which one?
The Ashton Kutcher one.
Okay,
When I see Ashton Kutcher, I don't see whatever character he's playing. I see Ashton Kutcher. So it's going to be really hard when I watch that movie to try to get my mind to believe that this is Steve Jobs. This is Steve Jobs.
He looks like Steve Jobs when he was younger.
When he was younger,
and then I see a picture of him because they put makeup on him to make him look older. I mean, he looks like him. We just don't know how. And the one clip that I saw, I didn't see anything different from Ashton Kutcher that I normally see from him. And plus, they did that made-for-TV movie, the one where it was like Steve Jobs versus Bill Gates, when they were both coming up, and that was a really good movie actually. With
What?
One more I want to throw out there. One last one I'm looking up is actually I think Ryan would like this one is the Old Boy. I mean, it's being directed
Ryan
by.
Gave a fist bump
it's being directed by Spike Lee, and you've got. I mean, we've got a pretty good cast.
Maybe Spike Lee will be finally good again.
He has not made a good movie.
I mean, when you've got Josh Brolin and Samuel L. Jackson as your lead actors, it's a crime drama, so it's in that genre that the Academy sort of favors. So
and he's gonna make it somehow about racial relations in America.
Despite it being
even though it has nothing to do with
that. It was a South Korean film.
So that'll be my last toss out there for maybe people to think about.
Very cool. Okay. Well,
Mandela's gonna be a contender also.
So thank you everybody for joining in the reaction show. Hopefully the Oscars next year blows us away, right?
Hopefully.
That's what we hope for every year, right?
Dreaming.
I highly doubt it.
Who knows? Maybe The Hobbit wins something surprising.
That's if The Hobbit's
Again,
good.
I would be willing to at least give it a shot.
I'm gonna put my hopes up, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm sorry. I love Peter Jackson. I love Lord of the Rings. The Hobbit didn't do anything for me. I'm sorry.
The dragon's gonna show up this time.
That doesn't mean anything.
It might be. They might give the award to the dragon.
Well, they're making.
They'll make a special category: best CGI effect. Best dragon.
Venom appearing in Spider-Man 3 didn't help Spider-Man 3. All I'm saying. Okay, so we have to go. We have to wrap it up. So thanks everybody for joining. Thank you guys for joining our Oscars month. So please join us next week, Friday at 8:00. Follow us on Twitter at UMCFA and look us up on YouTube. Search the account UMBCFA, youtube.com/UMBCFA. You can watch previous episodes there. Yep. See you, everybody. Have a good week.